Big news of the afternoon. We're going to go to Don Clark, who's bringing this to us. Some steps that Facebook is taking here. Everybody has been watching this, of course, very closely, very highly anticipated. So, Don, let's start off by talking about what we know so far in terms of them picking a lead underwriter for this. What do we know?
Yes, this is the biggest underwriting deal for a long time in technology, and Morgan Stanley we know to be the lead person. They call the lower left position. That's kind of numero uno. Goldman Sachs is likely to be involved. This means tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars in underwriting fees. So it's a big deal. And that we're also hearing timing may come as, for a filing may come as early as Wednesday, although that's not definite.
And how significant? Go ahead, David.
Well, we're talking about a significant valuation, possibly a $10 billion IPO in itself. Is that right, Don?
That's right, and that would be, ranked as one of the highest, like the top 5 of all time, I think. And the $100 billion valuation has been broached for a while, but that's, just to put in context, I mean, that's about the size of McDonald's. I mean, it's for a company as young as Facebook, that's pretty significant.
Let me just follow up quickly on Morgan Stanley. I mean, we all know that Goldman ran this private placement last year that kind of ran into some troubles with the Securities and Exchange Commission about who could buy it. I think they went eventually overseas to overseas investors. Did Goldman, you think, get a snub here? Are they on the outside? I mean, they're going to have a significant role, but as you point out, Don, that lower left spot is the spot that everybody keys on.
Well, they're 1 and 2 in a lot of rankings already all the time, so they're used to competing tooth by jowl for all these kinds of deals. So I don't think it was particularly a snub. I think you kind of just had to pick one, and Morgan must have impressed the Facebook guys a bit more.
Okay.
And why? And to both of you, I guess, why do you think now is the right time for this? I mean, obviously it's been anticipated, but why do we think the wheels are in motion right now? And
I think it's a league of its own. What do you think, Don?
I think so too. They have various pressures. By April, they have to do something because otherwise they're going to have to start reporting their numbers anyway. So everybody kind of thinks it's going to happen this year. That it's just become a question of when. One of the things is, of course, the conditions in the market. It's been going up and down, but it's a little more positive than it was, a month or so ago. There's also, on the other hand, there's been mixed signals with the reception to IPOs like LinkedIn, Groupon. So, it's not the greatest time to go public, but it's pretty good for them.
Yeah, and I think it'll also be interesting as we get closer, and tell me if there's any indication from Facebook on this about where they're going to list. Is it going to be a NASDAQ company? Is it going to be a New York Stock Exchange listing? Obviously, those two are still very competitive, and any word on what the ticker might be?
I don't think we know that yet. However, it's usually assumed most companies go out on NASDAQ, most tech companies initially. But that's again another thing that there could be a big battle brewing on.
And when we look at some of the investors, I was reading that this IPO may make these early investors some of the wealthiest in the Silicon Valley history in terms of these IPOs. I mean, this is really going to sort of blow the doors off of some of the valuations we've seen in the past, isn't it?
That's right, and we have another story running tonight about the venture capital firms that have been putting money in, and they for relatively small amounts of money, they're going to make a lot, and like thousand-fold return kind of things. And then also they'll just be the kind of normal, Facebook millionaires that like there were Google millionaires and Apple millionaires like when the things were announced.
Sometimes these things can create problems inside companies because all of a sudden, who's the billionaire, who's the millionaire, and we'll see. We'll see if it has an effect on how Facebook does its business.
Yeah. All right, Don, thank you so much for joining
Sure.
us. Here, David, I want to know what the Winklevi will be worth after this. That's
Well,
really
they've got those pickle commercials or whatever, right?
Pistachio.
Pistachio.
I think
That's
pistachio.
right.
So I think they're going to do all right.
Yeah, they're fine.
Either way,
yeah.
right?